I'm Tim, welcome to Watch One, and thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at the IWC DaVinci Perpetual Calendar Chronograph, IWC reference 3750-34. You can buy this DaVinci on our website, watchyouwant.com, and if you like these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. At 39 millimeters in diameter, crafted of stainless steel on a full bracelet, the IWC DaVinci that you see here reigned from 1985 to 2003 as one of the stealth giants of the watchmaking world. A moon phase, a perpetual calendar, and a very complete one at that, and a chronograph in an automatic winding package. This watch represents the hidden value in watchmaking that a lot of collectors have never heard about, but it's a story worth telling because this watch, both in its engineering and in its style, is completely unique and really a breed apart. Now, I want to focus on the fit first and foremost because it's a little bit unusual. 39 millimeters in diameter says traditional dress watch. The style of the watch, though, seems to hail from a couple of different eras. The stepped bezel seems to hail from the mid-century of the dress watch, the halcyon days of formal watches, and the hinge lugs actually seem to predate that period just a little bit. That's definitely a vintage look and one rarely seen on modern references of any kind. The thickness of the watch, which I measured at an incredible 18 millimeters, means that it sits completely different on the wrist than any other 39 millimeter watch you're ever likely to wear. And one of the reasons for that is an immense acrylic crystal. This watch has a few quirks, and I'll get into those, but principally you can see that immense acrylic crystal and the unusual choice of double-hinged hinge lugs. Now, what I want to focus on is that this watch wears completely different than you might expect. With the hinge lugs and the incredible height, you might think that there's something perhaps even a little bit awkward about the ergonomics of this watch, and you couldn't be more wrong. The bottom line is that the double-hinged lugs, rather than extending the watch and creating a troublesome fit, actually allow incredible compliance and contouring. Hinged at the case and then hinged again at the junction of the hinge, and this remarkably supple multi-link metal bracelet, this watch can actually conform to the smallest of wrists, and you'll see because of the hinges, there's almost no limit to how small a wrist this watch can accommodate. The second myth that I want to dispel here is that because of the thickness of the watch, which frankly is up there with some of the most aggressive dive watches I've ever seen, there's absolutely no difficulty sliding a long sleeve over this watch. Now, I actually played around with this a few days ago when I had long sleeves on, and I was surprised to find that because there are so many rounded steps to the flank of the watch, and I'll show you again in profile, but starting at the case itself, and then the first step of the bezel, and finally the smooth rounded edge of the acrylic, you can actually walk the sleeve up and over this with just a flick of the forearm. It's the perfect dress watch from an ergonomic sense. The bottom line is that the watch has a look that's all its own, but it also has complications that really set it apart. This watch is playing in a different class, the likes of Blancpain, Patek Philippe, Vacheron Constantin, a Lange and Zuna. That's where you expect to see a perpetual calendar chronograph. Maybe some specialists like Roger Dubuis. You don't expect to see it with an everyday wearable automatic caliber. Based on the Valjoux 7750, this watch uses IWC's in-house watchmaking ingenuity. Launched in the mid-80s, it has what is arguably the most user-friendly and simplified perpetual calendar module of them all. A single crown to set every indication, and I do mean every indication: the day, the date, the month, the year, the decade, and the moon phase. You simply set the date for the month you're in, and everything else moves in coordinated sequence. No case side pushers, no awkward adjusters, no stylus, no worries. This watch is incredibly easy to use, and as if a perpetual calendar with that many functions, including a century slide, were not enough. You also have the chronograph, and it's a solid chronograph based on the time-tested, bulletproof Valjoux 7750. Some have underestimated the 7750 because it's common. Don't. It's the equivalent of a Chevy small block V8. There may be a lot of them out there, but it'll still blow the doors off of everything at Le Mans. Just check the 2015 race results if you don't believe me. And the bottom line is that this execution, remarkably symmetrical, bilaterally, vertically, festooned on a black dial, no less, gives the watch immense power. You can see that it has a charming little acrylic distortion. As you look at it obliquely, the watch almost has the appearance of a 60s dive watch. The choice of acrylic was principally for durability, principally to protect all of the indications of the calendar module during the 80s, hence the decision to go with that material. Back when the watch was first coming out, there was a concern that sapphire wasn't quite up to snuff to protect this many subsidiary indications. The catastrophic failure of a sapphire would be something owners wouldn't want to put up with. Well, time-tested sapphire has proven its worth, but back in the day when this watch was designed, acrylic was thought to be a safer choice, and its effect optically completely changes the look of the watch depending on the angle. This is a watch that has a lot of individualistic personality. It's not a cookie-cutter piece, not in style, not in detail, nor is it in complication. I want to focus on one of the more minute elements of the dial, which is the moon phase display at 12 o'clock. Now you'll note there's a moon peeking out. It is a waxing moon right now, but what you might not notice on the iPhone, and I'm going to try to capture it if I can, it's the aventurine moon disk that IWC uses. Very unusual. It's a beautiful, almost lapis lazuli-like effect. It's a quartz-based stone that has glittering metallic elements inset, and it creates a moon phase that really does look like an image of the night sky. Innumerable stars, twinkling, glittering, all of different radiance and different size. It's quite beautiful, and set within the black dial, it's incredibly subtle. Now the white on black print has great effect, beautifully rendered. It's quite legible, actually. Once you learn to read it, you can get the day, the date, the month, all of that with a quick reference. And you'll notice there is even a constant second subdial here at 9 o'clock. So the display is very complete. And also, with the white indicators, it's very easy to pick out what the individual indications are. The calibrations might be a little bit faint, but once you know where they are, the ability to locate the hands quickly means you'll read this watch like second nature. And then finally, there is that IWC heritage. It's a watch that comes from a tool watch manufacturer designed for daily use. This is a watch that's real-world tough. There are complications out there that may sport all of these features in combination, but some of them, frankly, are just too delicate to wear daily. They couldn't be your only watch. This can. It has a screw-down crown. It has a solid construction. It has an unusual full bracelet. These are usually on straps. The full bracelet gives it a measure of durability and even an aesthetic integration with the hinge lugs that you don't necessarily get with the break between the metallic case, the metallic lugs, and then an extended band of leather. So in a lot of ways, this is a look and aesthetic that sets this already individualistic watch even further apart. If you want something quite literally no one else you know is going to have, no one else in your watch club is likely to have this IWC 3750-34 Perpetual Calendar Moon Phase Chronograph, automatic winding. This is a watch that really pegs the meter for individual character. It's one that I absolutely fell in love with when I first saw it. The power of the black dial, the strength of this flanged and stepped case, these unique hinged lugs, and quite honestly, the silken feel of this supple metal bracelet. This is a breed apart. You can check it out, and if you like it, you can buy it on our website, watchyouwant.com.